think that we picked up a couple pops
Mhm.
and made these as I said before, like it's the community, it's the people that you're involved with, it's the relationships that you build,
Yeah.
and to see
100%.
that like he was such a crucial part of that.
Mhm.
How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of the Reversal Quiz, the show that lets you get to know your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh personalities a little bit better. And today, we have not one but two guests. We have Logan and Brian, aka Crush Cards. We are doing this live on their subathon. How's it going, guys?
Yeah.
Going very
Oh,
well.
we're hanging in there. It's day 2 of our subathon. If anyone wants to come hang out, I don't know when this is up, but maybe if we're still live, you could come see it. That'd be really cool. But we're hanging in there. A lot of fun. Really excited to be on here and see what all the hubbub is about.
Cool, super cool. So make sure this is going to be up while the subathon is live. So
Good.
All right.
finish this video, go to the Crush Cards Twitch channel, twitch.tv/crushcardsYGO, I guess.
Yeah, literally that's
Yes,
it's that
that's
simple.
literally it. It's that easy. Come hang out.
Type that in, come hang out, drop some subs, September. And yeah, we're gonna kick off the show. So I'm gonna be asking Crush Cards 20 Yu-Gi-Oh related questions. And guys, feel free to take your time, answer, tell the people your story, let the people get to know you. And yeah, y'all ready?
Amazing.
Yeah,
Let's
go
do it.
run it.
All right, energy. The first question is gonna be obviously, how did you guys get into the game, and when did you start playing Yu-Gi-Oh?
I'll let you answer this one.
So
You
I'll
are a
give my
pro at
short
answering
version.
this
And
one.
yeah, okay. So we started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Brian started playing at the very, very end of 2018, early 2019. I started playing in the beginning of 2019. And it was honestly just because we started collecting Funko Pops. We've always been into like the Funko Pop little bobblehead guys. We've always collected them before anything. We're super nerdy people from the get-go, so it wasn't super out of the ballpark. But they came out with the first wave of the Yu-Gi-Oh Funko Pops, like the Kaiba, the Dark
Yeah.
Magician, it was Kaiba and Yugi.
Which, unfortunately, for what it's worth,
Yeah.
you can't see with our camera setup.
Yeah,
but
but they're
literally
all over there.
right above our
They're-
heads.
they're-
There's
yeah,
like shelves
yeah,
with
yeah.
all of them.
They're
Every
up there
single
and
one of
over
them.
there. It's just unfortunately you can't
Super
see them,
cool.
but they're there. But they came out with the first wave of the Yu-Gi-Oh ones, and we were like, "Oh my god, these are so sick!" And then we were like, "Oh wait, you like Yu-Gi-Oh? You like Yu-Gi-Oh?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, it was our childhood." And so we went and got the pops, and we were like, "Oh, really cool nostalgia." And one night we were like literally on Netflix because we do that. We're people, we watch Netflix. And they had the original Duel Monsters, like the first, like I think all of the seasons actually of the original Duel Monsters. We were like, oh my god, we should just like watch it, and like again, just more nostalgia. And we started watching it, and we're like, wow, this is horrific. Like they are so like it's so like cringe watching it like 20 years later. But it was like it's like watching those kid shows again. But it was so much fun, and I'm like, oh, this is kind
It
of
was really
nice.
sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the good old days. And so we were like, do we have any Yu-Gi-Oh cards laying around in the house? And upstairs in the attic, we had like old Yu-Gi-Oh cards rubber banded together in a stack that was horrific.
The classic.
Yeah, really safely put away for many years. And we like took them out. We like were like, oh, we should try and play like in the anime. And we literally had these like sleeved, horrifying, like just bent, awful, like decks of 80 cards. No logic as to what we are doing or how
Legal.
to play. Yeah,
literally.
super legal. Totally,
No idea what the rules were.
Yeah, we didn't even know extra decks were a thing. Like it was so bad. We'd play on our coffee table, and like we were eventually playing as we're watching the anime, and we're like, well, if they're doing it in the show, surely we can do it here. And I don't
That is
know
the
what
logic.
got us. Yeah, I don't know what got us like into the actual like mechanic. Do you remember what got us into like actually wanting to like learn the game itself, was it just like did it just snowball?
I think it was kind of a snowball, but I think it was like we went to Target one day to like get something, obviously because like Target is like our go-to.
Mhm.
We went to Target and we were like checking out, and
Oh,
in
yeah,
one
yeah.
of the far checkout aisles is where they had all
Yeah,
the cards,
yeah.
and we're like, oh my god, we literally just picked this game
We're
up.
like, oh my
They
god,
still
Yu-Gi-Oh cards!
make
They make
cards?
these?
We should buy some. I think we spent like
Too much money.
$100.
We spent like too much money
I'm
on
like-
cards we didn't even know.
And we had
like,
no clue, but like, let's just have some fun. Let's just go for it, right?
Yeah.
Like
we're like, let's open them.
yeah, it's a venture. We just
Mhm.
jumped in and we opened a bunch of them. We're like, what is this black
We're like,
card?
what are
is
these?
this
The
blue
blue
card?
card?
Why is this white?
What is this white card? Like, we were like, what are these
Why is this
cards?
card two different colors?
Yeah, like, what is
why
this?
is the top
Green
vanilla and the
and-
bottom green? Like
Oh,
what?
we were so perplexed. And
Yeah.
so I think that actually, I think now that he's saying it, that makes a lot of sense. It is like kicking in my brain. But like, we were like, what are all these cards? And we would literally like YouTube and like we went to the internet scouring, trying to figure out what all these crazy monsters were. And we learned the extra deck exists. And then we ended up just stumbling upon like Yu-Gi-Tubers at the time. And we were like, oh, like this is really neat. We watched like deck profiles just to see what the heck these cards did. And we're like, oh, this is like so rad. And we kept buying more product and just like seeing what we could do and like learning basic mechanics of the game.
Yeah.
Like link summoning blew my mind. I didn't understand anything outside of a ritual summon.
Yes.
So when they were like, yeah, for link summoning, you just like take the card, move it off the field, and just put a new one. And I'm like, you don't have to like tribute or like, I'm like, what? This like isn't melding in my like link climbing. I remember literally being so baffled about anything beyond a link Karibo, a link 1, because I'm like, what do you mean you just this can count as a this, or you can link, what is that even, how do you get to a link 3? Like it blew my mind. So it was honestly just, it snowballed from there. We started watching more content, building horrible decks. Like I built like Dark Magician, he built like, you had Blue Eyes. And then we went to locals. We got curb stomped by everyone at our locals. And they were like, bro, you guys can't, you guys gotta get better. And I'm like, wow, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And so then
I think it was the first, when we went to our locals, it was like the first couple weeks of Dark Saviors being released. So it was like Sky Striker format. And like, can you imagine like you sit down at a locals against like Thunder Dragon, Sky Striker format?
Yeah. And Orcus.
And then we were like, I'm gonna set an Eternal Soul and pass.
Literally, it was like Eternal format. It was so bad. I remember the first set, the first meta set we opened at our locals when we felt comfortable enough to go with Savage Strike. And it was like Borland Savage, Pot of Extravagance, and like we got the sneak peek kits back when it was still sneak peek, and I pulled an Extravagance, which was like, you know, back when it was super expensive and like the crazy, I pulled it, and everyone was like, oh my god, and I'm like, this card's so cool, wow. Like I was so like, wow, that's so great, and I remember that, and so we eventually ended up trying to build better decks. He built Layer of Darkness, I built Counter Fairies. We got the light and the dark
learned about like structured decks. We learned about like official product releases and all that stuff.
Trying to learn the mechanics.
Yeah, I feel like the rest kind of fills itself in, right? Like you just you learn about like, you know, not just buying random blisters at like a Target or a Walmart or wherever, but you find that you have like a locals or like an OTS. You go, you can pick up like real products. You get involved in the community. You get involved in the scene. You learn different decks. You learn the strategies. You're horrible for years, and as you continually play, you get better slowly.
And I feel like as long as like, you know, like we really wanted to play, we wanted to learn, so I feel like it made it easier for us to pick up and catch on to things just because we were super motivated to do it. And then we literally just started going to locals more often, picking up new decks, learning what everything did, and then a couple months later, you know, I started playing like Dino Thunder because it was like as strong as it ever was. Brian started playing Orcust and like just, you know, finagling with all those decks, and it was honestly it just snowballed from there. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's super cool. So you remember during that first Target trip, what was the first booster pack you opened?
Oh God!
I remember. I don't. I feel bad because I don't. I think it's like it was the one with Blue Eyes on it. It was like Legendary Duelist.
Duelist Saga.
Duelist.
It was the Legendary Duelist like Kaiba. I remember what you're talking about.
It had like the Blackwing support in it. I don't remember what the set was called.
Yeah, it had Kaiba and Blue Eyes. They were blue. Duelist of the Abyss. Duelist of the Abyss. Thank you, chat.
We got chat.
Yep.
Good.
I will say, I do think too, it was cool because we got to see a lot of stuff, but like one of the downsides of not knowing what we were buying was we're just like, oh wow, they have like all these different packs, so we just bought like 5 of everything.
We're just like, yes, buy it all.
God.
And it was
that must have been so much fun.
Oh, it was so cool, yeah.
There was fun being naive and like not knowing, and we were just like shoving cards into our decks. Oh, it was terrible. Like it was so bad. But like in that time, it was
funny too because it's like obviously like, you know, we didn't know this, but like a foil or like a super or an ultra or whatever was like guaranteed in every pack. So we like open like, yo, I got a super. And it's like oh, they're just guaranteed. We just had no clue.
Yeah, it was a nice time.
But it was like being naive was actually really fun.
Being naive in Yu-Gi-Oh is so much fun. Those memories are like awesome. The next question, you kind of answered it, but you can elaborate a little bit more. What were the first decks you played for real?
Yeah, for real, yeah. Like my first like legitimate deck, I'm not gonna count the light and dark because that was just like structure deck turbo.
I think that counts though.
I mean, you think
I feel like progression of like our decks is like it was like we had no clue, so we transitioned in, and then we learned what structure decks were. So we did like the 3 structure deck thing.
And I built like counter fairies, you did layer,
and then we realized like, oh, you actually have to play like real decks.
I think Zombies is honestly probably your first like competent deck. Like you played Orcus during Toss format, but like Zombies was always like your OG. Like for you started playing layer.
It was Blue Eyes and then layer, and then the Zombies.
Because the Zombie structure deck had just come out. Like
Orcus.
the zombie structure deck had just come out, right? Zombie Horde, like it was still on shelves, I remember, and I think you were like, "Cool, zombies, that's really cool." So like Zombies was like Brian's like first and still is his like OG deck that like he still loves and is competitive. My first competitive deck, I would say, was definitely Dino, like Thunder, like Dinosaur. I loved the Thunder archetype. I thought it was so cool. I was terrible at it. But I loved it. And then it slowly transitioned into me playing more Control, and I started playing Paleo Frogs, which is, you know, a claim to fame and all that fun stuff. But I loved Dino Thunder. I love Thunder. Thunder was like one of my favorite decks of all time. But yeah, I think that's kind of just where we started transitioning into more competitive stuff.
Yeah, and those naive decks you start playing with, you always like encountered some people playing them in locals, and you have like a soft spot. It's like, oh, Dark Magicians.
I will say too, a lot of those decks, you know, a lot of people like, you know, they give a lot of crap to like people like, oh, you're showing up playing this rogue deck. Like I think genuinely as a new player playing like the structure deck stuff, like whether it was Layer of Darkness, whether it was Zombies, Counter Fairies, whatever, it really does kind of help like initiate you to the game.
Oh, of course.
Right? Like it teaches you like what costs are. It teaches you like what's an inherent summon and what's not. Like it teaches you all the mechanics, and like it's almost like a good refresher almost with a little bit more knowledge. And I do think, you know, I don't know if this is in there later on in the quiz or questionnaire or whatever you want to call it, but I do think I've always just been a big fan of like, you know, I think one of the questions you get a lot as a Yu-Gi-Oh player is like, how do I get better, or how do I improve, and blah 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 blah. Like it really just is, the more you play, the more you learn. And even when it like comes down to like those micro interactions where like, okay, I've been playing this deck for a year and a half now, every single game I could potentially misplay, and that's an option for me to learn from that. So like I think learning and playing those structure decks, we still actually have, I'm literally looking at them right now. We still have like Layer of Darkness fully assembled and built and ready to play.
I still have Counter Fairies. I've got my ulti Ariadnes or Artemises or whatever one it is. Artemis. Sorry. Guiding
Ariadne is the super.
Guiding Ariadne is the super, and then Bountiful Artemis is my ulti. Yeah. I still have it.
That's super cool. So you talked a little bit about tournaments. What is your most memorable tournament experience?
Oh, sweet Jesus. I mean, mine's kind of obvious. Mine is probably when I got my regional invite top thing at Toronto, when, you know, everyone knows the video. I'm sure everyone's aware. It's the Team Samurai, Logan's Paleo Frog deck profile.
This girl wins at
Yeah, it's my claim to fame. I will never not be able to live it down. But that was probably my most memorable experience, just because it feels like, I mean, I don't want to say it was luck, because I did try really hard at this tournament, but like at the same time, I was so new to the game, and it was a turtle format. I still think back and I'm like, how did I do this in like one of the most powerful formats? But yeah, I was playing Paleo Frogs at a Toronto regional. It was 9 rounds. We came with our whole like locals group and everything, and the guys were all like, yeah, we're gonna win, everyone was super pumped. They all got absolutely scraped, which was hilarious. And then somehow throughout the day, I was like, "Yeah, I won!" And everyone's like, "What the heck?" Like I've been playing the least out of everybody and the shortest amount of time, and I'm just over here flipping trap cards, going swip swap, Ronin Toad F, let's go. And it was just really because I was playing cards like Crackdown and like Get Out, and IP and Avermax had just come out, so like the IP into Avermax, like Towers Avermax, was like virtually unoutable at that time. It was very hard because like there was not a lot of outs to it, and so a lot of decks couldn't deal with it. And I just thought that was hilarious, and Crackdown was super powerful, and as somehow at the end of that tournament I ended up getting my invite despite being the most probably inexperienced and incompetent player out of our group.
Well, a lot of times in tournaments, the stars have to align for you to take the win, right?
They really do.
They have to.
It is. Yeah. It does feel in a way like you can play the best deck, play your best, but sometimes the matchups just aren't good. Your opponent just draws better, and sometimes it's just not your day, and it truly is like that. And I think that was just my day. And of course I got my invite, and Team Samurai comes running up to me and he's like, "You want to do a deck profile?" Honestly, I was like, "No, not really," because like I know who you are and I know how this is gonna go, and I'm very nervous. But he talked me into it. I was a nervous wreck the whole video. It was so traumatizing because I was so not ready to be in the limelight like that. I was like, it's regional. You're exhausted. It's 10 p.m.
Yeah.
You're a sweaty, starving, exhausted, brain dead mess. And I was like, I was all of those things in the video. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna mess up so many times, which I did. And I was like, the comments are gonna flame me, which they did. But it's all right. It was great.
It was a good introduction.
Yeah, it was really funny because in the video at the very end, we had made the channel at that point. It was November of 2019. It was November 30th. 2019. We had a channel. It had 68 subscribers. It was very small, very humble. We had uploaded like 4 times. It was not much. We went into it with like a no attempt because Brian was like, "Oh, let's make a channel," and I'm like, "Why? We don't know what we're doing. We're not content creators." And he was like, "Well, it's just cool to like, document like our progress and decks we like and like try to get feedback from people that aren't just our locals." And I'm like, "Well, that's all well and good. And we can like open products like on the side if we want," which we did. And we edited it. We thought we were funny. It was cringe. And then at the end of the Team Sam video, he was like, "Oh, you don't have any shout outs or things you want to plug?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess if you want, we have a YouTube channel called Crush Cards." And like, I never in my life thought that 3-second bit at the end of my deck profile in a video, because God, who watches the end of a video? I never thought in that moment that the next day I would wake up and our channel would have damn near like 2,500 subscribers from 68.
Yo,
I woke
It was
up.
insane. We
Like,
woke up, we're like,
crazy.
We woke up and I'm like,
what?
well, are we just gonna make content? Or are we just gonna let this sit here? And we honestly just made the choice to be like, you know what? I guess if we've been granted the opportunity, we're gonna run with it. So that day lives in like my mind as like the snowball to everything, because without that day I wouldn't be here and it wouldn't have pushed us to do any of the stuff we've done now. So that's mine. Sorry, that was really long.
Yeah, no, you're okay.
It's all good.
I think mine, I guess like kind of on the same vein with Logan, right? Like I feel like your first top is always like one of your most memorable.
Yeah.
And it was actually the week after you topped.
It was the weekend after. We went to a different regional.
We went to the
it was
South
weird.
Park,
The stars
Pennsylvania.
were still aligned.
Literally, it was just a really good month for us. Like
We went to the South Park, Pennsylvania regional. And I was playing Orcust at the time of Logan's
at my top.
And then literally a week later I was like, I'm really bad, I can't play this. And it was the first weekend that Mystic Mind came out.
It was literally Dane had just come out.
And I literally I was like, you know what? I was like, this card looks crazy. I'm gonna build a deck around this card.
Yes.
And
I
literally brought Mystic Mind Burn to Pennsylvania and I got 5th place.
That's crazy. Look at us now,
yeah,
2022.
Literally, yeah, it was wild.
Oh
and
my
I think what I really liked about it was, like kind of tying back to what we were saying before, right? Like you learn about all the stuff that you can have and all the options you have available to you as you play through some of the structure decks and whatever. And Layer of Darkness came with this insane card called Lilith. Lilith has 2 insane synergy points with the Mystic Mind deck. And it tributes for cost, so it's off the board. So Mystic Mind is never, it's not like your opponent's summoning a monster and you have a dude, so at the end of the turn they just you tribute Lilith for cost, so your opponent's always gonna have a monster stuck. And then Lilith sets trap cards. And trap cards back then, yes, there was a lot of removal. There wasn't like Lightning Storm and Duster wasn't legal, but like there was a bunch of burn cards, and you could play, like all these burn cards, and that was just the win con. The win con of the deck was just like burn your opponent. And it was not something I'm proud of, but it was a deck that was super fun at the time.
It needed to be done.
Yeah, it needed to be done.
It was before mine was like the toxic dumpster fire that it is now, and like it didn't have all the stigma because it had just come out.
It's actually really funny because the list that won, I feel so bad. The event, Mystic Mind Burn just won an event.
Rio was it?
Rio. It was Rio. I'm not saying that, but that deck looked a lot like mine.
Yeah,
it was playing a lot of the trap cards, like the Delinquent Duo, or not Delinquent Duo.
Dark Bribe,
not Delinquent Duo.
The
one that gives your opponent tokens.
Oh, the Ojama Trio.
Ojama Trio.
Ojama Trio.
Well, I like
I was playing like Trio. You play like Dark Bribes. You play the Sacrifices. Like you play all the fun stuff.
Because
And it was
Mystic
really
Mine, no offense to your deck building of Mystic Mine, but Mystic Mine isn't exactly an innovative deck. I feel like it's pretty much this. Like Mystic Mine Burn has been pretty standard for the last, I don't know, almost 4 years now.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like that's just kind of like the fixed cookie cutter puzzle.
Mhm.
Hey, if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
And honestly, guys, at this point, how are you not ready for Mystic Mine?
Yeah, honestly, how are you guys not prepared for Mystic Mine?
Yeah, but I think like so with that, like that was my first top. It was probably the most like memorable like tournament.
Yeah.
But I think all the tournaments
Yeah.
are just something that we look forward to because for us, like it's an excuse
Mm.
to like get out of the house and go hang out with our friends, right? Like after what we just went through with like this huge pandemic and being stuck inside for nearly 2 years, being able to go to different cities, different states, different countries, and like hang out with people that we've never had the chance to meet before, being able to do this, you know, on YouTube, and then get to meet people that we never would have met before.
Yeah.
Go out and have, you know, like we just went to Niagara and we had dinner with a bunch of our patrons, which was like something I never thought in a billion years
that's
we'd
so
be able
cool.
to do. I think it's really cool. Like the tournament experience is awesome and I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
And I think the best part about tournaments is getting to see and hang out with all your friends and all the people that you never would actually be able to if it wasn't for you.
Yeah, like I remember every major tournament we go to, like Charlotte being the first YCS back after everything. I remember everything. Like they're all memorable in their own right. But definitely I feel like your first top is always like a special place.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So we got a few questions on the things you're secretly teching right now, trying to fish out some secrets, right? What was a weird card you recently searched for, either on DB or to purchase or whatever?
That's a tough one, right?
That is tough. I gotta think.
And the reason it's a tough one is because Konami is very late on this thing called the ban list.
Yeah, it's tough.
So because it's ban list season, I think there's a lot of like copium.
Yeah, everyone's buying out cards, you know, they think are gonna come back.
Yeah,
like
also, like a lot of people are like on hold, not buying anything in case like something gets hit, right?
Like Gage was here over the weekend, or like we had the event, we had Niagara, and then he came back and stayed with us for an extra couple days just to like hang out and be friends. And while he was here, I traded for another, because there's two of us, another Ultimate Rare Colossus, just in case, you know, just in case it ever comes off.
I actually also picked up one this week.
Yeah, you know, like it's just it's I'm not. We have a friend, Derek.
Yes.
I think he was in chat a while ago. He's from our locals. Derek is like, you know, it's weird if you look at the patterns of the Konami ban list when it comes to like the OCG list and the TCG list, and like every list they just not like crazy, but they just get a little closer. And I'm like, you know what, man? I think that's crazy.
This
and then
might
like
be
you
the
really
time.
watch the patterns, and like snow comes off, and then I'm like, whoa, bro, what's happening?
I know, we
it's
got
wild.
change of heart.
Yeah, we got like change of heart, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe we get just in case, let's pick up some Colossus. We have a bunch of like super rare hard fours in case they come
At the end, it's gonna be pot of greed, and we're all screwed.
Oh my god, we're doomed.
Oh
If that's
my
the case,
God.
we are all absolutely doomed. But like, yeah, I'm trying to think of like spicy things I've been picking up. It's hard because like I don't feel like there's. I think everyone's very fearful right now, so everyone's kind of scared of. Everyone's afraid of being spicy. Like everyone's just kind of being very safe with like Tier Sprite, you know, the generic decks that everyone's playing right now. I don't really think I have anything like crazy that I've been thinking of playing. Also, just because of the ban list. Like if there was a ban list or something I had firm understanding of, I feel like I would be much more inclined to pick up very different, distinct cards.
Yeah,
but I feel like we're just in purgatory right now. It's really awkward. Like so, it's a rough period of time.
I think
I 100% agree.
I don't even know if you can call it like spicy, but they're just like tech choices. They're nothing like really out of the ordinary. But we've been experimenting in our side decks, and one of the things I was experimenting with was the Red Resonator and the Sprite deck, and it literally never came up for me. Ever. I played it for like a month in my side deck. It never came up, and of course we go to Niagara, and I get Red Resonator in time, and it bubbles me out of day two.
Felt bad.
And it was really rough.
Yeah.
And then like other cards too, like I think Logan was actually on because Tearlament is such a difficult matchup for Sprite. You were on Shifter.
Oh yeah, I'm playing Brave Sprite, but I was siding D Shifter because I hate Tier. I hate that deck. I don't want to lose to it. So you know, if I've got to play Shifter, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
That's
But yeah,
true.
like those aren't like super spicy or anything. But like yeah, it's tough right now because like the meta can't really adapt too much because we're very afraid of the ban list.
We're just
So
stuck.
it's kind of like we're just stuck. Yeah, we're just
Yeah.
stuck.
I 100% agree. So a little bit deeper than that. Oh yeah,
Oh,
go ahead,
Sorry, I
Brian.
was just gonna say,
Oh my God,
I'm sorry. I
what?
just like, I think really like something that like we like to do too.
Mm.
I don't know if these are like spices, but like a lot of people, you know, they look at like, you know, the tins just came out this week, right? So a lot of people are like, oh, I gotta pick up my prosperities, I gotta pick up my droplets, I gotta pick up my lightning storms. Now that they're cheap, and a lot of people don't go and look at the cards in those sets that weren't reprinted. A lot of people don't go and look at the cards that may not have, like, so a good example, we talked about it on stream last night when we opened 2 cases of the Megatins, is you got secret rare Trouble Sunnies in the extra deck for the Live Twin deck. You also got the extenders that came super rare for like affordability. And we only have 1 printing, technically 2 if you count the collector's rares, of the
main deck.
the Lila
Yeah.
and the Kiss a Kill Link monsters.
Yep.
So the Evil Twins. So that, like, I think those are cards to like look at if you're
Yeah,
you know interested
interesting.
in that deck. Pick those up now because those
Yeah.
cards do not clearly have a reprint in line.
Yeah, that's true. So, in regards to that, what was the last card you sleeved?
Oh goodness.
Oh, last
Sleeved?
night.
Yeah.
We opened the
Well, last
Megatins.
night we opened in case, so I feel like that's tough. I think like
It was Prosperities.
it was Prosperities.
We finished the playset. So.
But like I'm trying to think of like a card that wasn't just from the tins last night that we opened, but like you order cards all the time.
Yeah, I order cards like every day
Um,
on TCG Player just for.
Oh my god, what is the last
Cardboard.
card I sleeved that I-
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, that I like care about.
I mean, that's like an awkward question, right? Because we just got back from an event, so
that
it's
is
like
true. I feel like I've sleeved a
we
lot
just
of
re-sleeved
cards.
our entire deck.
It is tough. But like yeah, pretty much everything from the tins we just sleeve.
Yeah, we could do
But, like,
prosperity. We can leave it at prosperity.
Yeah, that's
Prosperity.
fine. Opening a lot of tag and Megatins. We got our playset of prosperity. That's fine. We only had 1 playset, so like
Yeah.
now we have playsets.
Wow,
Yay.
you got it from 2 cases?
No, we
We have the original print.
we
Prosperity.
had an original
Yeah.
print playset from like when it first came out, and then
Yeah.
out of the 2 cases, we got a playset of prosperity. So
Whoa.
yeah,
That's
I
pretty
know.
good.
Like I'll take it. We got no droplet though, which was really tough. So
Yeah.
it's fine. We have droplets, so I guess I can't complain. But now we each at least have a playset of prosperity, so
Yeah.
I'll take it.
That's cool. So we talked about the ban list. So we got a few ban list questions, obviously. We've all
Of course,
done
of course.
prediction videos and seen
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of them. And at this point in the timeline, people have done 2 prediction videos because
Literally.
things have been like become irrelevant during that time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a few ban list questions. If you had
Oh, boy.
the power to ban 1 card, regardless of anything, just ban 1 card. It could be a personal ban, could be something to do with the metagame.
You go first.
I'm gonna. It's hard. I'm trying to be rational and be like, don't just pick the one you just hate. But like, I'm gonna say Snow. I really don't like Snow as a card. I think Snow is awful. I hate Scythe equally as much, I feel like, but I think Snow is just a little more prominent, so maybe I'm just a little more bruised by it right now. But I cannot stand Snow.
Yeah, like not once per turn, not once per chain. Surgical via like Curious in the extra
I
deck.
just
like,
you
can
send
mill it
off
every-
like
yeah,
everything.
like-
I just don't like Snow. I think Snow needs to go. I think that card is super toxic. I don't enjoy it. I don't know. That's mine though. I'm just trigger happy though, and I just don't like Snow.
I don't know. I've been on this train forever. At
here
least
we
a
go.
year. I've been
Chat, I bet
getting
you Here we
so,
go.
yeah. I've been getting so much crap for this. Chat already knows. Our channel people already know. I think this card is either a 0 of or a 3 of. And when I say 3 of, I mean that's like 0.00001%.
Like the worst thing.
This card needs to be banned, and it's Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is absolutely degenerate. A lot of people, I'm trying not to get, I don't want to like
he
tilt
could
the
talk for
comments.
hours.
I could talk for hours on this card. Called by the Grave has so many applications, and I think people are like, oh, bring it to 2 because it's in Master Duel. Completely different game. They have Max C, literally not even the same. Like it's an irrelevant format. Number 2, Called by the Grave is a lot of the opinions are like, oh well, my deck needs hand traps in order to play it. If you call by my 1 Ash, then like I just or if you Ash my play and I have call by, I get to win the game. Like Farfa said this very well. It's like, like if you're choosing to play some of these more rogue strategies and your opponent activates Ash and you have the called by, that's great. And if your deck can't play through 1 Ash Blossom, maybe this just isn't the right competitive level deck. And I think there's another thing to take into consideration where Called by the Grave If it's at 3, yes, awesome. Your rogue deck gets to play it. That's
Mhm.
so cool. I'm so happy. And the meta decks get to play 3 Call by the Grave.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if like full power Drytron is the
Yeah,
example I like
Drytron,
to use, right?
yeah.
Drytron. If full power Drytron had access to 3
3 Cold
orange
Buy,
light
yeah.
and 3 cold buy,
Why?
your droll is just literally never resolving,
Irrelevant.
and they're FTKing you every turn.
Every time.
And I think it's
That's
just
true.
like it's really easy to sit inside of a box and say, oh well, my one deck needs this one card in order to function, without looking at the applications that it has for
in the
other,
bigger picture, yeah.
right? And like a lot of people want to compare it to Crossout Designator, which I also think is
Literally not the same
yeah,
card.
it's really
not even
incorrect.
close.
Because like you have to be playing
Yeah.
the card
The
in your
target.
deck, so it's like either it's for mirror matches or it's for hand traps, and if that's the purpose, 1000% okay, that's a
Mhm.
fair.
Yeah.
Call by hits main deck monsters, it hits extra deck monsters. Not only does it last for a turn, it lasts for 2 turns. It is not once per turn. It's a quick play card. You can use it
Yeah.
offensively, you can use it defensively.
Ridiculous.
And like when you genuinely think about it, like Call by the Grave is DD Crow for 2 turns, it's Skullmeister for 2 turns,
Mhm.
and then the other implication I like to use is it's like, you know, it's some sort of like an effect negation, whether you want to be gamma,
Mhm.
imperm, whatever. Because if you like normal Alistair, activate search invocation,
Mhm.
link Alistair away, activate the invocation, your opponent chains Call by, banishes the Alistair. That Alistair
Is
in
now
your
shut off
is
for-
yeah, like if you have another Alistair in your hand for like damage cut, you can't even use that.
Yeah,
Like
and you can't use the next card either. You're
there's
just chilling.
there's just so many applications that Call by has that
Yeah.
people don't see outside of like, oh, I need my one search card to resolve because, you know, Ash Blossom's so
Mhm.
strong. Like, no, Call by is literally so
Yeah.
like it is honestly a game ending card.
Yeah.
And when it's at 1, it's stupid sacky, and when it's at 3, it's way too powerful.
Yeah.
I think Call by just needs to be at 0.
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday I got called by it, and then I don't know what the context was, but the guy said, you know, it's not once per turn, right? And I was like,
Yeah.
what?
Mhm, Yep.
It's not
It's
once per
crazy.
turn? That's insane.
Yeah.
Like, ah!
I think
Yeah.
too, like, not that this gives any validity to my, you know, like
Yeah.
statement or like thought process here, but I also think too, when we, with all the content that we create,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like we just went to Niagara and we sat down with like Raphael Naven, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Jesse Cotton, all these like big named players. Like Pac has a bunch of videos on his channel, Farfa has a bunch of videos on his channel. Like all these well-known people in the community who are established as like not only community members but good players.
Yep.
All of them are in the same camp. Where like
Yeah.
Call by the Grave is unfair, ban the card.
I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that is
Mount Fuji's in chat. He says, "Yeah,
Yeah.
Mount Fuji agrees."
yeah, like I think that's just the consensus at this point. Like
Yeah.
if you're aware of how the game works and everything, like you know that card is extremely overpowered and probably shouldn't be around. But
Yeah, card's crazy.
but that's to Konami, so
Yep.
I'll leave that ball
let's,
there.
Yeah, that's up
let's
to-
hope we get something soon. Something,
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
So now you have the power to unban a card.
this is easy.
Oh yeah, this
This
is
is
easy. I think
easy.
we both unbanned the same card.
Yeah, it's, yeah,
So I'll let you
yeah.
do yours and then.
Hard because like I have plenty. Like I could put a laundry list of cards I would like to come back. Like my like not my first. I mean, we probably have the same first one, but like one that I would like to come back. I would just like to have Zodiac Dryden back. I think Dryden can come back. I don't think that card's doing anything. That's just like my little baby one that I would like to come back. But like the main one that I want to come back, I think is probably both of ours.
Colossus.
Right? Yeah, it's Colossus.
It's Colossus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
want,
want Colossus
I
back really
I
bad.
know it never
If you
will.
can't tell by the fact that we have 2 now.
I know.
Yeah, definitely.
I love Colossus. He's probably one of my favorite cards in the entire game. I absolutely adore him. I think it's just such a cool card. I love it. I'm mad I didn't get to play more of that format because we had just gotten into the game and I wasn't super competent yet. But if Colossus could come back, I would be pumped. I know a lot of people hate that card. I
Yeah,
get it.
card's
Trust
insane.
me, we all
Card
have
is very
we
insane.
all have a card we want to come back.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yep.
fine.
Well,
I
that's
have-
that's
I have-
exactly what. Oh, sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like I have that like hot take too with like
Mhm.
cards I would like to come back. The ban list isn't even out yet, and I know already that Needle Fiber is gonna be banned.
Yeah, right.
So
It's
if
like-
I could use my one, it's just unban Needle Fiber already.
Yeah.
But realistically, if we are gonna ban Needle Fiber, this is hard copium here, and I'd love to see Summon Sorcerer. I would love to see Summon Sorcerer.
Yo, Summon's never coming
That
back.
card
bro.
is
That
so
card's
fun.
Insane. Summon
Like
Sorcerer's
cards
broken.
that function along the lines of like Summon Sorceress or Needle
Mm.
Fiber, like they take a lot of setup, yes, and they're extremely crazy, but they are such fun
What you
cards
said,
to
what?
play. Yeah, they are such fun cards to play.
Yeah, they're like good. They're fun, good cards, and
Yeah,
like
that's
you
true.
know, I know they're kind of OP.
Yeah.
But
I know I'm very aware that Summon Sword will never leave that list.
Again, we know,
but it's a
just,
very fun card.
It's just the nostalgia of wanting to play our very good cards again.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, that's true. And regarding to Thunder Dragon Colossus, on the first episode we had Tatsim, who said the exact same thing about
I'm not
Colossus.
surprised.
And he actually made a really good point why it should come back. He had like a full explanation ready for people.
Oh, yeah.
So go check that out after the stream.
I could give a whole lecture on why it could come back, but I
easily.
know no one wants to hear it. Everyone's like, "Oh, well, it's but like, there's
Nemesis Corridor.
Yeah, Nemesis Corridor. There's outs. We have Emperor Dark Ludomorph Droplet. Every
Chalice.
interruption under the sun, but that's
Kaiju
fine. That's a
Swablu,
different conversation. So I'll just let everyone
Yep.
hate me
yep.
with the
Called by.
wanting it back. I know
Called
it's fine.
by.
But yeah, so Colossus back.
So the last one is putting an unlimited card to 1.
Ooh, an unlimited card to 1. E-Telly.
Thank
Or
you.
Bannon.
Oh, no, I love that
I
card. That
think-
card's way too
I
fun. That card's
literally-
way too fun.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think E-Telly should be at 1 or banned. I think them putting it to 3 was an absolute mistake.
Yep.
Speaking of Colossus, it was a mistake. I think that E-Telly is just like I play it in my sprite.
Yo, Fuji, just
I
say you
play-
hate me.
I play 3 E-Telly. I play the Gamma package in my sprite deck, and boy oh boy, E-Telly not being a hard once per turn, literally getting you Gamma, which is a 2 for full sprite combo.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
being able to get any of the psychics that are like relevant, any punk like Bullcrap, Ziamine, you know the deal. Like it's just ridiculous. Like E-Telly nets you so much advantage, not being a hard once per turn. It is just bonkers. Like I every time I have it or I have multiple copies, I'm like I just win the game. I'm like it's crazy. Like you just at this point, I feel like if you play against an E-Telly, you don't even want to interrupt it because God only knows they probably just have another one, and like
Yeah.
it's so powerful. Like it's so frustrating. But like
E-Telly's crazy.
I think E-Telly should go
Crazy.
back to 1. I think it coming to 3 was absurd, and like if they ban it, that's fine. I think E-Telly is bonkers.
All right, a card at 3. That's so difficult, right? Because there's so many. But I'm trying to think of like one that would make an impact. Are we talking like in general or just like right now?
Whatever you want.
That's tough.
Man, there's so many cards I want to see like limited. I'd have to say just because it's like I think the deck is extremely strong
Mm.
and extremely unfair, and like this obviously does go along with like what else is accompanied with this on the ban list, but like saying that they don't hit E-Telly, I'm praying to God they ban Snow.
Yeah.
Still having access to cards like Curious. I know this sounds really, really dumb, but it's like I think the deck is way too OP, and I think the deck gets even better in another month. I would love to see Hoffness put to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of all the cards in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's stupid.
That deck is unfair. Like that deck is like that deck. Like if that deck gets to go first and you don't open like 3 hand traps, like why are you even playing the game?
I love how we
And like
just
when
chose,
you get
like,
to
meta
go second,
decks.
when you go second, they're just like cool. Hoffness effect summon wind on you turn 0, or like summon starving or the Stapelia. That's his name. Summon like Stapelia on turn 0, and it's like, dude, come on, bro. Like this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
Well, it
It's
just
hard,
got
like-
limited in the OCG, right? The last one.
Yeah.
Someone, Gator Green just put in chat
Oh,
super poly to 1.
That's
I actually
fair.
think that's a very
I could
good
also see that.
I think
too.
that's a really good
Yeah.
one.
My answer would
That
have
card.
been Magnificent Map to 1.
Yo, I hate Flu.
Or we
That's
could
fair.
just ban the barrier strategy and
Oh.
just make the
Just-
deck
Or
unplayable.
just ban all.
It's also
all
true.
of it. It's
That's
terrible.
also true.
Yeah. There's lots of choices though. I feel like it's very personal preference.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's all about the personal preference in these questions
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The next question is, what is your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh set or product of all time?
Oh, that's so tough. Oh, I was like, oh, maybe it'll be Yu-Gi-Oh card. No, set? Oh, jeez. Oh, goodness. Okay.
I
okay.
think I have 2 answers.
I
for
know. I
this.
was like, I think I have multiple answers. You go first.
First off, I would say it is between.
I hope we don't have the same answer.
I think for us, just because of like where we were in the game
Yeah.
and how much fun it
Yeah.
was to open.
Yeah. Dual power.
Dual power.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's dual
literally
power.
dual power or Duelist Saga.
Yeah. Dual power.
That set
Yeah.
was
Dual
so.
power.
We actually have a sealed case.
Yeah, Dupo and Dusa were like our favorite sets. We do have a sealed case of Duelist Saga because I love the rarity of Duelist Saga. I
Oh,
love that
beautiful.
set. absolutely stunning set. Loved it. It had amazing reprints, like
Absolutely
fantastic cards.
worthless, but so fun.
Rescue Cat, Mizuki, like
Literally, it was
such
so
a great set. Loved Duelist Saga. And it was
Yeah.
out. It was when we went to our first YCS Niagara in 2019. Duelist Saga, I remember vendors and stuff had Duelist Saga, and we bought a couple packs and stuff to open, and it was just like, I don't know, it was like such a thrilling set. It had like the nostalgia legacy cards on the pack arts, like it was a set that was just so much fun to open. And I just have like I think I have like stories from our channel on our Instagram from way back when, before that event, where I was like, oh my god, it's Duel Saga. I was so excited. Definitely Dupo too. Like Dual Power was such a cool set. We bought a case of that set. We had no idea how to play the game, but man, oh man, we were opening Dupo like it was our job.
Yeah, Duel Saga Dupo, I think.
Yeah, because before we had a channel, we didn't make a channel until like the end of August, like August 30th of 2019. And then before the channel, we have a TCG player store, and so the TCG player store Crush Cards came first, and then we just followed suit with the channel and named it Crush Cards. So we had a TCG player shop, so we bought a case, and we kept all the things we needed. Whenever we did, we're like, oh, we'll sell it. And so that's kind of how all that came about. But Dual Power was fantastic. I think in terms of other sets that I really, really like opening, I really, really liked the Legendary Collection Kaiba. Those were really cool. That's all the
good
same
one.
time.
That's a good one. The legendary collections are
Cool.
insane. All the
There's
secret
that one.
rares.
They had the hand traps, like you got Ash Blossom, like
Droll
oh my
Ogre.
god, that set was so
insane.
good. So good. I love
Sick.
those kinds of sets. Any collection kind of set or anything like any of those. Like just such cool sets. I love them. I love the rarities. I love the printings. Love those sets.
I
They're
think
definitely...
honorary mention would just be like novelty stuff, like OTS packs. Or,
Well, yeah.
Everyone loves a good OTS pack.
Yeah, I
for
love
sure.
I love the advent calendars. I wish they do more of them like every
Ooh.
year. The advent calendars are so fun. Like the first one we ever did was the Karibo one.
Yeah, the
this
Transcendent
Karibo
Wings one, right?
Loved that. It was it was such a cute set. It was so much fun. But I love those kind of novelty, like reprint-esque sets. Those are always so much fun.
Mhm.
Awesome. So the next question is probably going to be a fun one. If
Oh,
you
boy.
were specifically a monster card, what type and attribute would you be?
Ooh, okay.
Dark
okay.
zombie.
Yeah, you'd be a dark
Let's
zombie.
go.
I feel like that's not
Let's
even
go,
hard.
easy.
I would probably be. That's tough. What kind of type would I be? That's rough. I feel like I'm a water monster.
You'd
at
be a
heart.
water worm.
Did you really just make me a water worm? So I'm just Moye.
Yo, Moye.
Yeah,
Moye.
I'm Moye.
Easy.
Yo, low Yeezy, let's go. Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. You know what? I'm a water worm.
Or like an aqua.
Call
I
me
feel
Shatana, here I am. Oh my god. Yeah, you know what? I'll take it. No, water worm. Water worm.
Water worm. Awesome answer.
Okay.
So
That's
you mentioned that you probably like share a lot of the cards you
Yeah.
own, but
Yeah.
what would be the most favorite card that you currently own?
Ooh, that we own? Oh
That you own.
boy.
Can
that's
I ask?
crazy.
Does it have to be a card that we play, or is it like a
Just
No,
any
no.
one of
card
those
we
like
own?
treasure
Collection-
like,
collection
I literally
card.
never touched the
Could be a
card.
common from
Ooh.
2002. Doesn't matter.
Okay,
Mm.
I know your answer. And
Yeah,
I know
you
my
know mine.
answer.
Okay, so you say your answer.
My answer's long. You go first.
Your answer. Oh, okay. Okay. Mine's kind of shallow. I feel bad. Kind of a shallow answer. I'm gonna be honest. So there's two answers I have here. Like my immediate impulse one is probably my Starlight IP. It's like my baby.
Of course.
It's everything to me. She's
Yeah, yeah.
gorgeous. We keep looking over where our
We have a
our
shelf of like
starlight.
starlights.
Our
yeah.
starlights, and she's like in the top. She's just like
yeah, just like the top.
but
the
she
focal piece.
is a very, very important card, not just because she is a Starlight IP, but she was sent to us by a bunch of our subscribers banded together when the channel was still super small, and they sent it to us as a Christmas present way back when the channel was tiny. And so that was sent to us by them, and it was like super sweet. It was something I never expected our community to like do or like anything like that. So like it's just a very like a treasured piece in our collection, and I'll never stop being grateful for all the people in our community who do stuff like that for us, and it's crazy.
That's so awesome.
And it was just like
Yeah.
probably one of the sweetest things that anyone's ever done. And so that like is just one thing that I will never get rid of it. I don't care how much value it accrues. I will hold that card forever. And it's also just one of my favorite monsters. So I think that's really, and it was like, it got me my first top. I just love that card. So it just has a lot of sentimental value for me.
Great answer.
And then my second like baby answer is obviously also sent by subscribers, the same subscriber actually. They grouped together, my ulti swap frogs. They obviously, when I started playing the deck, I was playing commons. And, common swap was all you had because I couldn't afford the ultis by any means when I was just starting the game. And I was like, oh wow, it was only he was like $100 at the time, and I was like, oh, I can't swing that. I think he was like 80.
Yeah,
he was like 80. I was like, I am
Wow.
not paying that much for a card.
That one's like 500.
now here I am down in the deep end over here. But like again, in that like same vein, my group of my subscribers, got together and they sent me the ulti swaps, and that was just such a cool thing, and I'm so grateful for them, and I love that card. And obviously it's just like they're just like pieces of me as a player.
Yeah.
That like A, mean a lot to me in general, and B, like the fact that they're from my community means so much more. Again, I'll never get rid of them. I don't care. But yeah, those are definitely like nostalgic pieces of the original decks that I played that I value with everything. So
yeah.
Amazing answer.
Mine is super sentimental. Actually now has a little bit of value.
A little, yeah.
I know. I tear up like every time I talk about the story too. So when we talked about like cards and like decks and like getting into Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff, one of the first decks that I picked up was like, it was Blue Eyes and then the Layer of Darkness because Logan got counter fairies. So like we were just like light dark. We had no idea what we were doing, right? But the first actual like deck that I would say I was competent with and that I played, I picked up 3 of these Zombie Horde structure decks. And I don't know if anyone knows this about us as like a channel or about like this, but like that was a mistake. I didn't mean to pick up the Zombie Horde structure decks. I had no clue, right? Like I had no idea. I just saw like, oh, these are zombies. They play in the graveyard, right? Yeah. And one of our really, really close friends at the time, grew up with them. We played bands together, like in bands all the time, like went to the same church and all that stuff. Like just like, just great guy, awesome family, absolutely
got us into the game.
Yeah, like got us into the game, taught us a bunch of stuff.
Taught us how to play the game.
Literally, like we could like call him up, go over and sit down for like 3-4 hours.
He was good at the game.
And just like learn so much from him. And like one of like the more casual decks that he tried to teach us the game with was Gravekeepers. And I was like, oh, I want to be just like Dre, dude. I want to be just like Dre. Dre played Gravekeeper, so when the Zombie Horde structure deck came out, I was like, oh, this is it, cool, I'm just gonna buy these. These are Gravekeepers.
These are playing the graves.
Yeah, and like I literally like bought the deck and I was like, these aren't Gravekeepers. Whatever. I was like, that's cool, I'll play this deck anyways. So him and I did like a lot of like webbing and like a lot of the goo or whatever, back in like the wee old days when it was like Zombie World Rivalry Pass. And with that being said, I brought that deck to regionals. He was playing Salad at the time. And the next event that we went to, I got a phone call from his wife, and he passed away from cancer.
Yeah.
I was 30.
He was 30.
I think he was 30 when he passed away. Yeah. Had a family of like
they just had a baby.
Young girls just had a baby.
And we knew he was going through his leukemia, right?
Yeah.
We knew he was going through it. It was very fast. It was like it happened like over the period of a summer. Like we had just started going to regionals together. We actually like went to regionals together leading up to all of his procedures and everything before he got diagnosed. And we thought he was getting better and everything was okay. He was getting all this like biopsy and work done. And we thought he was getting better and he was doing better. And then, he had to eventually go in for chemo and stuff over the summer. And again, we thought he was getting better. We actually went in and visited him and like played with him because we were able to. And I remember he was playing Salad, and I would sit there and I would watch them play because I was too nervous always to play Dre because I always thought
Dre
he was so good at the game, and I was so new, and I was always so nervous to play him because I get really insecure. So I would watch them play all the time. They were playing in his hospital room in the little tiny corner on the little tiny table, and like Batman was like playing on the TV, and I'm like. It was just like I have a very ingrained memory in my head of that, and like we went like a month later in September. We went to the same regional the same location of a regional, the Catskill regional that we went with him 3 months previous when he was doing a lot better. And literally at that regional on that day in the middle of the rounds, we got a call and we saw the post that he had passed away, and we were so distraught. We were super upset. The whole tournament was like scuffed after that because we were just messes. And it was just really tough and it was terrible. But anyway, so do you want to tell you what the cards you have? And like, Man, you're getting us all mushy on this stuff. Jeez.
Yeah, I mean it's a touching story.
Yeah.
So after everything had like kind of settled and like his wife invited us over and she gave us a couple of his cards and she gave me his secret rare Mizuki because she knew that him and I had that like zombie bond. He only had one secret rare and it was in English, and like zombies being my favorite deck of all time, obviously I was like, this is the card. It has so much like
we don't talk about it a lot.
You're good. It's all good. We can move on if you want.
No. It's just
it's a good thing.
For sure.
It's
just there's a lot tied to it, right?
Yeah.
Like to think that we picked up a couple pops and made these as I said before, like it's the community, it's the people that you're involved with, it's the relationships that you build.
Yeah.
And
100%.
to see that like he was such a crucial part of that. Oh, goddamn.
Yeah.
And to just hit 40K and for us to both be able to like leave our jobs. It's like we do this for a living and it's crazy that we play Yu-Gi-Oh for like a living and like he's just not here to celebrate it and it sucks.
I think that is the hardest part.
Yeah. That's true.
The channel didn't even really exist when he passed. It was probably a week old, honestly. It was a week old actually, when he passed. So like the channel didn't have any traction, nothing. It was just a funny thought that was kind of inspired by the fact that we were so into the game and excited because of all of these people who got us into it, who surrounded us with such a good community and gave us that motivation to try. And it is tough that he's not here to see all of that. And we got our invites not even 2 months after he passed, and not to be able to thank him or attribute any of that to him other than just saying it is really hard. And we think about it every now and then, and the fact that it's been 3 years already since he's passed, like, is crazy to us. Like, it doesn't feel like that at all. And I still have such vivid memories of him and everything. And it's like, it's hard when like the most pivotal people who got you to where you are today just aren't there to like celebrate that with you, and you're not there to thank them in every way that you can. So because of that, Brian has the English Secret Mizuki, and he plays.
Yeah, so I think that's why Zombies is like the deck that I put so much time into, and I love the deck. And like, even though it's not like the most meta contending deck, like when you get cards like Chaos Ruler and like you get E-Telly back and all that stuff, it's like it really does help decks out a lot. And I love that deck. I try to play it like competitively as possible.
Well, Zombie Punk is a thing. It's real.
Yeah, literally. And with that, because his Mizuki is the secret rare English, I was like, you play the game a little bit longer, and you want to become like the rarity bumps. So I bumped all my Mizukis to secret rare, but I have only one in English because I know that every time I draw the English one, not the German, not the Italian, but when I draw the English one, I know that it's his. And I always like when I'm in, if I have 3 Mizuki in the graveyard, I am intentionally banishing the English one first to bring back cards and play the game. So it's just it's the little stuff. Thank you, team, for running through this with us. But yeah, it's really emotional. Like he was like, not only was he a great player, but like he was a great dude. He was a great dad. And just like being able to take a deck so rogue that was like a structure deck and put so much love and time and effort into it. It's just like it's kind of my way of like saying things.
So
yeah.
So, long story short, secret rare English Mizuki.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That was really something. We're gonna pivot to something a little bit different.
Yeah. Maybe pivot. Yeah.
Pivot. Nothing sentimental from now on, but you guys are having a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh personalities on your subathon now. You just met a lot of people in Niagara. Who will be your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh personality?
Oh god, that's tough.
I know that's really hard. You can name a few, but
yeah, I'm like it's hard because like
it's all of them.
Yeah. Like
It's all of them.
It's everybody. It's hard because like obviously we've grown to have so many friends in this community that are content creators, and like I love everyone for different reasons. Like everyone contributes. And that's what I love about the Yu-Gi-Oh community. I know I'm sure every other community has like their, whatever friendship, hand holding, whatever. I like that the Yu-Gi-Oh community has so much variety and that we have so many unique personalities and stuff. It's so hard because like
it could be somebody who was influential to your Yu-Gi-Oh journey,
I would
right?
say honestly, like I'll give two answers. I'll give like the personal one. Like my personal level is probably Gage, Nim Nim. Gage and I are very close. I love Gage. He's my sweet baby Gage. I've loved him for a long time. He's a very dear friend. And I could barely get him out of my house this week. But he's just a great person. I love Gage. We just vibe on like a deeper level. I don't know. We're just great friends. And I wish nothing but success for him. He's finally getting back on his channel. So I really hope he just like keeps on the grind and everything. Because he's a great person. He's so funny. He's so sweet. He cares so much. And like he really does have so many amazing ideas. And I hope he just puts them into practice and everything. But Gage is wonderful. And then my other answer as like an inspiring, like someone who's inspired us as like content creators and stuff like that. Also very hard because I feel like, we all take like ideas and stuff from other creators all the time. Like we all want to be like the big players, we all want to like be like the big time. And obviously where you see success, you want to try and draw from that. And that's the kind of the name of the game. But I think for like me personally, and I mentioned this yesterday, and like I never talked about it a lot, but it's like it's suddenly coming up a lot, which is so funny. But
like
honestly,
lore.
Yeah, I know this is like personal Yu-Gi-Oh lore here. But honestly, for me, it's Farfa. Like I always really liked Farfa as a content creator. When we first got into the game, and before we got into the game, like the TCG, when we were just like opening packs for fun and playing like the crappy version of the game while we were watching the anime, like we would look up content creators, and Farfa was one of the ones that I gravitated towards because I very much enjoy humor. I enjoy like fast-paced videos. I've watched a lot of like Let's Players and stuff like that, like growing up. So like I really like that style. And so Farfa was just one I was naturally drawn to. His content was so jumpy and different, and like it was obviously Yu-Gi-Oh focused, but it was also very much focused on like the satire and the parody and like the humor of it all. And
I feel like Nadir was also one of the first people who like kind of said like I don't care, I'm just gonna do me, and if you like it, like bold. I guess bold is
he was definitely ambitious. Like he was different, and like but he was different in a way that he reminded me of like content creators outside of Yu-Gi-Oh. Like you sometimes you watch Yu-Gi-Oh content creators, you're like Yu-Gi-Oh content creator, but like when I watched Nadir, I was like, this is a guy who I could see doing literally any of the other stuff I watched, like Let's Players or whatever goofy variety stuff. Like he's a guy that I see, he just happened to be doing Yu-Gi-Oh, and so like I loved his personality, and I really loved his style. And I remember being like, I think I like one of the first things I told Brian, I was like, he literally is like Yu-Gi-Oh PewDiePie, and I like thought that because I watched a lot of PewDiePie when I was younger and everything, so like I just thought Farfa was so fascinating, and I just loved his style, and so I was like, this is so cool, and I want to emulate that at some point and have fun with the video and just like be silly and snappy and like witty and like blah. She's just got like so much grit to it, and I really liked that style. And so now here we are, we're editors for him, and it's great, and we have a great relationship with him. So it's just really weird how you come full circle from like admiring him, and he was like admiring him from like where he was at that point years ago, and now he's gotten so much more massive, like quadrupled his size, and now we edit for him, and it's great. And like it's wild that can happen, and it's like it's so cool to know that like if you truly like want something hard enough, like, and you can do it and you have the means to, like, you can truly make it happen. And I think that's so cool because I admire him so much to this day, and I still do appreciate everything he does because everyone works hard in their own way, and it's just cool. That's all.
I think for me, it's really ironic because like we're super like closeted about this, but like we are like being like the couple, there's two of us, being the fact that like we were still so new. I would argue we're still like new when you look at like people in this space that have been around for like 5-10 years. We've only been doing this for like 2.5 ish. So like we were very like hesitant to like reach out and like make friends, and I think we're still kind of the people where it's like, man, we really like you, and we're terrified to contact you. So like if you want to talk to us, you got to message us, 'cause, like we're way too scared. But like when we met like, you know, Kevin or Distant Coder, and like, you know, Logan said like Gage and like Nim Nim, and like, you know, all the like that whole crew of people, and we edit for like Nadir now, which we still haven't met, which is crazy. And then like Doug, obviously we edit for Doug as well. Like all these people are so amazing. Like we finally met John from House of Champs. We've met Sam a bunch of times now. Like just so many content creators that we love and watch and look up to that like we can actually now sit down and call friends.
Yeah.
I think that's like just that in and of itself is really awesome. I'm gonna give maybe a little bit more obscure answer, but Logan mentioned, and I mentioned too, that we now edit for a bunch of content creators. We're moving into now editing for 3 alongside of ourselves, so 4 total. Which is a huge accomplishment, I think, and just something I'm really proud of and we really take seriously. But I feel like when you watch videos that are edited, a lot of videos are edited well, but I think there's a difference between watching videos that are edited well and watching videos that are edited with intention. And I think the first person that really made me see that difference was in Sam's content. And obviously Sam is incredible, but it's Val. Val is Sam's editor, and I legitimately like I idolize the ground this dude walks on. Like what this guy can do editing wise in like such a snappy time, like it is unbelievable.
I can't wait to meet him.
I think Val is honestly just like one of the best, if not the best editor in the Yu-Gi-Oh space right now, and just
for sure.
Doing what we do, I take a lot of inspiration. I try to, you know, like never have talked to the dude. He probably doesn't even know we exist. But literally, like the dude literally just does incredible work, and it's super inspirational. So I don't know if that answers the question, but Val, the editor.
There you go. That's a really good answer. That's a really good answer. So we've seen on your channel a mini series called Let's Top Locals. It's a really good like view into what the local experience looks like. But can you tell us a little bit more about how does it feel to go to locals in your area? What's unique to your area with locals?
I mean, I think our community is very our community is close knit, which is great. I'm grateful we have such a close community. It's not like super huge. Our locals is big, but like our community is pretty like decent size. Like I think our locals typically weekly. Like on an off week, it's like 12 people, but on a great week, it's like 40. Like it's crazy. Like it's always one way or the other. It's always like a ton of people or nobody. I guess it just depends. But like our community is extremely close knit. Everyone has been like, it seems like everyone like except us and like new people, because we're right by a college campus, so we get new kids every season. But like other than the new people and us, it feels like everyone who goes there has been going there for like literally since the place opened. For like 15 years. Like they have been like raised in that building. So like it's really cool because they all are super close with each other. Everyone like knows everything about everyone, and like it's really cool because everyone can trust each other, which I think is really good. There's definitely a lot of trust in our community, and I absolutely love our local community. They're wonderful. I'm going to miss the hell out of them when we move to Arizona. But they are fantastic people, and like the staff too at Millennium. Like I couldn't be more grateful for the locals that we have, and because we wouldn't have gotten into Yu-Gi-Oh if it wasn't for them. Like if they weren't cool, we weren't getting into Yu-Gi-Oh. So I have them to thank almost every day.
I think on top of that too, like I just think like first off, if you haven't watched the Let's Stop Local series, it's super fun to film, it's super fun to edit, it's super fun to watch, I hope. And I would love to say that, like, you know, what you see in those series, that is locals, right? Like that's it's not like it's, you know, it's not like I think that's why we like that series so much for us, is because it's raw, it's not scripted. Like
it's just the chaos,
those interactions, that little banter you see back and forth, like that's just them.
Just the
like,
way they are.
It's not like, hey, the camera's on, like be extra. They're just extra.
I just happen to be rolling and they're just doing
like,
what they do.
I think it's really cool. And we make a joke. I don't know if we've said it in the last couple episodes, but like we make a joke that it's our locals is called Millennium Games, and it's like there's, you know, it's Millennium Games hobbies, and then like every time we find something different, we add a word. So it's like Millennium Games hobbies, frisbees,
yes. Yeah, so it's just like a running joke.
Yeah, and it's just like every time we go there, like we add something else to it. And like I think that just like no one really knows this, but this shows, if you've seen the video, you know how expansive our locals is. Like they actually like, I think on the East Coast they are the biggest board game store
on the East Coast of the U.S.,
like
which
the,
is
the
like
store's
so weird,
massive.
very specific, but like they are, and it's
Yeah.
a huge place, and it's like super cool. They host all other TCG tournaments too.
Yeah, they do like Magic, Pokemon,
Flesh and
Digimon,
Blood,
Flesh and
like,
Blood.
all
Yeah,
that.
they have everything, right? Like,
yeah.
they have like disc golf. They have the Legos that we built earlier. We got them from our locals. Like our local sells Legos.
Yeah.
And they just have like anything and everything you can think of. And the fact that our community is so well knit through that still is, I just think,
Yeah.
really
It is. We
Like,
do
it's
have a
really-
very wonderful community. I'm so glad because, like, you know, not every locals can hold the entertainment value that ours can for Let's Talk Locals. So I'm just grateful we have a locals that, you know, really shines when the camera's on, and they eat it up too. They love the camera. And I'm super happy they do. My nightmare is people being like, oh, dude, no, don't film me. But they're just like, yo, turn the camera on. I'm ready. Like, let's go. So I'm very happy. They're a lot of fun, and I absolutely adore them.
Yeah, they're the community. I think every community like has its own, you know, like its own quirks and its own, like, you know, just like the things that make it unique. And
But
ours is just like,
ours is great.
I will
very
say,
grateful.
it's nothing that I think you can describe. It's something you have to experience.
Yes, truly, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So speaking of tournaments, how do you prepare for an event? Do you have any rituals or something specific that you do before an event?
Yeah, don't sleep, don't fill out a deck list, don't know what you're playing until you show up, and pray.
There you go.
That's
That's the plan.
I mean, it's really bad. Like, we always are like, oh yeah, we're gonna sleep, and we're gonna, you know, write out our deck list early, and we're gonna do all this stuff the right way. Never. We have never done that. Like, I don't think we've
When
ever
we went to
done it.
Niagara, I was literally, I think until like 12 hours before the event, I didn't even know what deck I was going to play.
Yeah, it's hard. Nowadays, I feel like I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. Like, it is hard. But yeah, what you should do is you should sleep. You should, you know, get sleep and be prepared, have everything packed up, write a deck list, or pre-reg, whatever it is
You
gotta
should
do.
pre-reg.
Yeah, definitely pre-reg.
Definitely do that.
I pre-reg. That is the one thing I do. I always pre-reg the second pre-reg opens. I am neurotic when it comes to that. My biggest fear is like missing an event or something. So I'm crazy. And if you also want to go to an event, you should be crazy like me. But yeah, it's really just like having all your ducks in a row and being ready and knowing what you're gonna play and knowing the decks that you're gonna play against, I think, is a very big one.
Yeah.
Like knowing the matchups, and just like bring Tylenol, bring water. It's really just like survival stuff. Like pretend you're going into the woods, like essentially. Just don't bring a tent and you're fine. Like that's literally it.
For
I do
sure.
think we'd like to place a little bit more focus on locals, or just like any like testing abilities that we have or opportunities that we have the week or so beforehand, because we do, you know, it's really difficult because when you go to these events, whether there's, you know, 600 people or 6,000 people, you know, they are stacked regardless. You are gonna see, you know, like the top
gonna be
players
great
in the world
players,
that are there, at, you know, like at a lot of these events. A lot of them are grinding for worlds points, so they're gonna be at every event anyways. So not that doesn't mean you don't have a chance, but we do want to make sure that we have a little bit more of
Yeah,
a chance
an
if we
attempt.
prepared
Yeah.
0 as
Yeah.
opposed to like
Yeah.
12%.
Yeah.
So just like, you know, I do think that the decks we've been on are the decks that we've been playing for the last month or so now, so we're pretty familiar with them. So as you kind of asked before, right, like it comes down to those little tech choices, and I think one of the big ones for you was Shifter in the side deck for the tier limit matchup. For me, I didn't do it, and I wish I did, so this is knowledge for moving forward. Nibiru isn't, like, no one is playing around it, no one is respecting it, and it absolutely does destroy the tier limit deck, at least with the greedy playstyle that a lot of them have now. So I wish I was siding something like that. And I think if we played more against that matchup, we would have realized that prior to, and, you know, we would have been able to better prepare. So sometimes it is hindsight preparation, but, you know, it is, I think we just, like, we try to focus a lot more on going into the event with a little bit more knowledge, but also we try to, I think this is really important to emphasis, is that, like, we try to make sure that our bases are covered, right? Like, as we edit for multiple people, we want to make sure our projects are done, so we're not going into the weekend worried. We want to make sure that, you know, all of our stuff is, like, up to date and, like, scheduled so that we don't have to worry. Like, we do want it to be a little bit more of a positive experience for us, so we're not stressing the whole time. We still stress,
But try to relieve the stress.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Twitter and always seeing Logan's post of like slept for 30
Yeah,
minutes
not
this
sleeping.
tonight.
Yeah.
Literally never
That's
sleeping.
us.
That's my life.
Yeah. So the last question, we made it, guys. What would be your main advice for somebody who is starting to play Yu-Gi-Oh at 2022?
Oh goodness.
Pray.
Wow. I'm gonna say pray.
Pray.
Honestly, I think it's so hard because like there are so many things to say, and I'm trying not to talk so darn much. Honestly,
Yeah, chat's like, good luck. Hold
yeah,
on.
like hold on. Like if you're starting to play Yu-Gi-Oh from like ground zero, in 2022, I think if you surround yourself with people who enjoy the game and like the game and also want to see you enjoy the game, I really think community is a large part of it. Like if their community is terrible, you're not going to want to keep playing because you're not going to have fun. And I feel like there is an element of fun that does need to be had in Yu-Gi-Oh, especially when you start playing. Obviously, no one comes out of the gate playing, a meta deck and learning every mechanic overnight. Like, if you are learning the game, you have to surround yourself with good people who also enjoy the game and want you to learn. So it really just comes down to community. I think community is the first step. I think that is the foundation, and I think from there you can do anything at whatever pace you want. It really is just surrounding yourself with people who know the game and are willing to help you and are just cool, good people.
And shameless plug here, if you are looking for a community like that, we have an awesome Discord.
Yeah.
We have an awesome YouTube channel. You can come and interact with people there too.
It really is community. Even it can be a physical community. I guess I should have probably stressed that. It can be online. Like if you have people or whatever, like as long as there are people you can interact with that are like-minded and want you to learn the game and everything. Like as long as they are good people and a good influence and make you want to play the game and they motivate you. I think that is definitely the starting point and the springboard, 100%.
Awesome.
I would say, just to like piggyback off that, I think that maybe a little bit more like competitive of advice is that like you kind of got to take it like life, right? And like this is just like kind of my motto for everything is that like you're always going to have good days and you're always going to have bad days, and you're never going to know the difference between a good day and a bad day if you don't experience both.
Yes.
You're going to make mistakes, and it's okay to be frustrated, and it's okay to try to turn that into a positive experience and learn from those mistakes so that you don't hopefully make them again. And if you do, it's okay. Just look at it as a reminder. There are decks out there that are way better than yours.
Yeah,
there
that's
are
gonna happen.
players out there that are way better than yours. And that's okay, because in life, if you go to apply for a job, there's other competition. There's other people who have more certifications or whatever. They know more about what they're doing than you do. And that's all part of the learning process. I think when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh, when it comes to playing, as Logan said, make sure your community is solid, because that's kind of what you come back for. Obviously, Yu-Gi-Oh is the means in which you play the game and which you meet the community, but the community is really just kind of more of the centerpiece. We actually just started trying to do this in our local community, which is get together with the player base outside of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
Like have the whole
Yu-Gi-Oh.
I feel bad because we missed it because we were out of town for like a birthday party. But like on top of that, just it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to have bad days, and it's okay to learn from those mistakes and bad days.
Learning is the most important part of Yu-Gi-Oh! I feel like people forget about. Like I feel like everyone gets really hell-bent on winning and stuff. Like that's obviously really cool and good. Trust me, I get it.
And know that like overtime is like it's crucial, right? Like nothing is overnight. Like we've been playing the game for 2.5, 3 years now, and we are nowhere near the players we'd want to be.
You know what? And it's fine. I still I know that I am better than I am when I started, and that is fine. It is a slow growth, but it is growth nonetheless. Just don't discredit it.
Yu-Gi-Oh is a journey.
It is.
Yeah. And
thank you guys.
To know that Yu-Gi-Oh is.
Oh my God, Brian, stop talking.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Go.
Yu-Gi-Oh is the most difficult TCG. So when you walk into this game and you're frustrated, it's okay. Like this is the hardest game out there.
It is a hard game. So
yeah, for sure. All right, that was awesome. So you mentioned your Discord earlier. Let the people back home know where they can find you.
Yes. If you need any of our links to any of our socials, they are all in the description of our videos. Also, if you come and join us on the subathon, and you can just put the commands in, I will let you know if you come in. But they are always in the description of our YouTube videos. On YouTube, we are Crush Cards. On Twitch, we are Crush Cards. If you need anything, video description is usually the first way. We are also on Twitter. We are Crush Cards YGO. We are also on Instagram as Crush Cards YGO. So feel free to come find us if you want. I'd be more than happy if you did, and we'll welcome you.
Yeah,
the
so
subs.
Crush Cards are probably live right now as you're watching this video on
Hopefully.
YouTube.
God,
So
I hope
go.
so.
I hope so as well. And we're gonna upload it really fast, so to make sure you're still live. So yeah, thank you guys so much. It's been
God, thank
really,
you.
really amazing.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you guys for watching this. Make sure to check out all of Crush Cards' socials, hit that subathon, and of course, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
So yeah.